Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am your host, Saucy McBoodlefist, and today we are playing The Letter. In the last one, so many things happened. I don't even know where to start. We got attacked by the Wright's butler, who almost killed us. Every room in the mansion was filled with blood. We saw possibly Lady Charlotte Ermengarde or Hannah in a room talking to herself, going crazy. We got accosted by Luke with a gun. Rebecca came to the mansion because she followed us there, even though she wasn't supposed to. And yeah, we're getting close to the end of the game, so let's get started. Let's see if this is the last episode. At the top of the staircase, Hannah Wright stands there, pale as death, an expression eerily calm. I can't help but think that there's something wrong. My gaze darts around her, wary of her, but soon enough I realize what's wrong when she speaks. She's wrong.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. What do you think you're doing out here this late?
Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and a clap of thunder ripples across the sky. As if this whole thing can't get any more foobar than it already is. Luke. What? There's a whole nother chapter to this game? I thought Ashton's chapter was going to be the last one. But apparently not. Alright, well, I'm a little disappointed and a little, I don't know how to feel. This game is really, it got good towards the end of Ashton's chapter there, but there was a lot of a lot of the stuff I just didn't really care about. It's just, in a way, and I don't mean to give my full review of the game right now, but in a way this game's kind of slogged along through some parts, and I just kind of want it to end, but apparently it's not ending anytime soon. So anyway, after a long and exhausting day at work, and I still have much to do. Sometimes I wonder why I still bother. I can surely afford to retire, leave the business to trusted colleagues. Even if they make enough to only break even, I have enough money to last us a lifetime or 3. I could send 7 children to college if I had any, not that I plan to. But the problem is obvious, isn't it? I don't trust any of the lot. It has to be me because they might get it wrong. I don't want to retire and suddenly wake up one day to find that everything has gone down the shitter.
Christ, I'm knackered. Why do I have to kill to have fewer problems around here?
I'm not really allowed to complain. I chose this path. But that doesn't stop me from doing so as I throw my shoes off and let them stand wherever they please. Petty, maybe, but there's a certain joy that comes with stepping on the carpeted staircase with nothing but my socks on. I'll accept no distractions. I can call up Schrocken for a sandwich, but that's probably it. I've got a suitcase filled with contracts to check over and sign before I can retire for the night. I'm also waiting for a call from Suarez for any new updates regarding the IT leaks, a real cause for concern. It's the reason there have been investigations on me. Had it been a new thing, I would have let it run its course. But it's been going on for far too long, near 3 years, for me to just take on a passive role in the affair. I've only kept my head this far because I've managed to mitigate most of the damage with several favors. And some grand puppeteer to ensure the high-profile law enforcement and government officials keep me out of trouble. But who knows how long it can stay that way. Powers are shifting and the current can be unpredictable. The whole exit business is already shaking things up and upsetting the balance. It's only with great care that I say where I am, but the smallest efforts can unravel all that I've done. It certainly won't help if I'm being accused of things, whether I'm guilty of them or not, because some computer chump thinks he can play a game with me. And well, shit, it'll be a miracle if I get to sleep tonight, though that is hardly surprising news. But before I can even take a step into the study, a voice from the bedroom calls out to me.
Luke, darling, you're finally home. Why don't you be a dear and come in here?
And I hesitate. For a moment, I do not have to be done, but I suppose greeting my wife as I get home is only proper. I've already gone for most of the week unless I needed to be here for work over on the house. So with a sigh, I head towards the bedroom. The feelings that came to me as I enter the room are definitely mixed. Hello, Hana. For one, I am somewhat floored by the sight that greets me. There is confusion. Exasperation is strangely there as well. And as to be expected, there is desire. She is a divine goddess, or rather, she is a horrible temptress. What man wouldn't be attracted by that? I guess they could be a sausage jockey. But wow, that's kind of homophobic. Kind of, I don't know. But that is beside the point and is not relevant to the situation I found myself in right now. This is nice and all, but why does she have to go around and do this of all nights?
My love, the bed is awfully cold without you.
The matter of fact, I've seen Hana all primped up like this since... the matter of fact I've never seen Hana primped up like this since the first year of our marriage. There must be something special to bring on such an act. Our wedding anniversary has already passed, so that can't be it. Hana's birthday is in April and mine is in August, so it can't be any of those either. So what in the bloody blazes brought this on? Is Hana drunk?
Why don't you just, take a rest? I'll be busy all night.
Is that answer too cold? I don't mean it to be. She certainly doesn't look amused. And fuck, if it doesn't feel wrong to refuse sex for my wife when when I was all too happy to bang Marianne into the mattress. That's right. Of course, I was drunk, but still.
Come on over and stop being a boring old man. Work can wait.
Maybe I can entertain her just for a while. It is a tempting idea. But no, I'll never get any work done that way. And imagine how horrible it would be to get a call from Suarez in the middle of a shag. That would certainly kill the mood and piss me off more than anything. It'll be even worse if Kylie steals the phone from him, as the little ankle biter is prone to do unless her father is locked in a room. Just thinking about the possibility is weird and turns me off from even trying anything.
I'm afraid it can't, Buttercup. But hey, it's Sunday tomorrow. We can go out for dinner right after. Somewhere nice like that Italian restaurant you wanted to try out?
Why don't we skip dinner tomorrow and eat out tonight?
Whoa there, why don't we slow down? Looks like someone is in the mood, but hey, there's a time and place for everything.
I grew up in a house where sex was a constant thing. It's just a thing that the body does, more or less. Sometimes it comes with social implications, supposedly, with paper-thin walls and a mother with that horrid job of hers made me think that way. But I learned later on that it isn't the case for everybody. Suffice to say, this is really odd, for her at least. I'm quite sure she never grew up in a sexually promiscuous home like I did. She grew up in a well-to-do, normal, and decent family. And in the 7 years we've been married, she's never acted this aggressive about sex. We do it when the mood comes to that, but never like this. And when I'm in the mood, she isn't. That's about the time I go around town to have my back scratched. I've got nothing to be guilty of. I believe as long as it's just lust and not love. My night with Mint was just that. Sex. She was a beautiful woman. I was extremely drunk, and we were both consenting adults to some degree. Seeing as Hana had been busy with one of her many parties, I thought I'd take the opportunity to slip out. That's a good way to explain it, I guess. I'm just really confused and trying to come to grips with the reality as it is presented to me.
Well, this is the place, but now is not a good time, darling. Like I said, I have plenty of important work to be done. Any other night, this would be great. Excellent, splendid. But not right now, okay?
I suppose if that's what you want, I can have my prince another time.
Aww. A chill runs up my spine as she calls me that again. My prince. Is she going through some midlife crisis? I know she's not the sort to play pretend with that sort of thing. Now that I think about it, this is probably some dream. Perhaps I've been exposed to something. Jesus, I've gone and fucked up my own brain. That can be the only explanation, or at least the only explanation my mind wants to accept right now. But if it were, I should probably accept her offer, no? But on the off chance it isn't, I shouldn't. Either choice fucks someone over, quite literally at that.
Yes, that's right. Another time. So if you could put your dress back on. It's really chilly right now, isn't it? You don't want to catch a cold if we're going out tomorrow.
Thankfully, she's done as she's told, which puts this strange episode to an abrupt end. Unfortunately, she had to put her dress back on so painfully and seductively slow. I suspect she knows the things she does to me. As much as I'd like to have the engine running, there are things to be done to make sure we can keep enjoying a glamorous life as we do now.
I'm starting to think you don't find me beautiful anymore.
Aww.
Is that what brought this on, then? You are an angel. A goddess, Hana. Of all the flowers in this garden, you are by far the most beautiful and rarest of them all. Every bloke would want to be with you, and every lady would want to be you. I'm sure it goes the other way around, too. I'm lucky to have you, and I don't know how you put up with the likes of me. I'm really sorry, darling, but it really isn't a good time.
I don't quite think little Luke is up for some fun just yet, either. Not after the blow he had been dealt by a violent ginger harpy. It doesn't hurt me to see her upset because of something I've done or said. It always does. One can't always get his or her way, though. At least, society would like you to believe in order to soften the blow of disappointment. And all I have to do to take their side on that, just this once. Pulling her in for a hug and a peck on the cheek, I'm quick to pull away before I change my mind and make it more than that. I can at least give her those.
Chin up and smile. You'll get wrinkles frowning like that. And beauty sleep helps.
Of course, my prince. I suppose I can do with the sleep.
The smile that lights up on her face is enough to make me forget about the oddity that just transpired. I still don't understand the whole prince thing, though I'll let it slide for now. Seeing her with golden locks and that silver dress, it almost makes her queenly, with due respect to her majesty, of course. Despite that, there is just something off.
Hana, before I go, what happened to your necklace? The blue diamond.
I thought Hana looked a little odd. The fact that she seemed confused feels off.
Whatever do you mean? Oh, that old thing. It's somewhere in the vanity drawer, I think.
And to be so aloof about it.
What? But wasn't that from your father?
It was a priceless heirloom, to be exact, handed down from one generation of Evans to the next, whether it be to a wife or a daughter of an Evans. I know that Hana treasures it so, especially after it was given to her with her own mother's passing. Then, what is with the ugly thing dangling around her neck? It looks more like a choking hazard than anything.
It was, of course it was. I just thought a change would be nice.
I don't think I've ever seen her wear anything else in its place. A change it is, but not an entirely welcome one at that.
I see. I suppose that makes sense. Well, not that it matters, but I like the old necklace better. At the very least, we can have it cleaned and polished while you're not wearing it. Remind me to have that done in the morning.
Whatever you wish, my prince.
Right. You have a good night then, Buttercup.
With a shake of my head, I don't waste any more time than I've done already. Heavy suitcase in hand, I head straight into the study and dive right into the contracts. There's a whole stack of them too, mostly to do with property management. Nonetheless, careful work needs to be put into them, as with everything else. My attorneys have already checked them over, but I like to be precise. I'm not going to sign if there's a single line I do not like. It's a long way into the night when a coldness envelops the room. I suspect, at first, that it's merely just the usual chill. But the heaters have been turned on as the strange sunny weather that's been gracing us as of late has come to an end. The door is barely open, just by a crack, though I shut it in case that might help. Satisfied, though not as much as I would have liked, the room still feels amazing. I make my way back to the mess of documents waiting for me at the table. Just a few more, and I can get a well-deserved rest, get out of this place, and dive into the warm comforts of my bed. Then maybe, if Hana's still up for it. Well, it's more than enough motivation. Parking my rear back on the chair, I begin my work in the last of the blasted papers, more ready to be done with everything and turn in for the night. Only for another chill to startle me to a stop. And that's when I feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. Eyes boring at the back of my head, a rush of air just at the nape, and when I glance back, reflected in the lone portrait in the room, someone stands behind me, just by the study door I closed moments ago, though I did not hear it open. Perhaps it is Hana trying to be sneaky, or Strachan being a bellend of a spook as usual.
Do I really have to ask people to knock before they enter? Seriously now, this is anarchy, and I'll have you know...
I turn, but there's nothing.
Huh. Must have been a trick of the light. It is getting late, and I should really go to bed myself. Just have to finish looking over a few more contracts, and...
Yes, just finished signing these and I can have some rest. Maybe arrange for a day off in the morning. Sighing, I steel myself for a night of dry paperwork. Still, the feeling that I'm being watched stays with me throughout the night. October 30th, Sunday. And with the sun rising comes another disturbance. Both too loud and too sharp for my tastes. And I have very fine tastes. When the piercing ring of the doorbell reaches even the study, I'm very much inclined to think that the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only thing good is that the ruckus has chased away the kneading guilt from last night's commotion, if only temporarily. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can tell already that it's going to be a long day. It hasn't even started. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the chair and heading straight for the main door. There will be a murder today if this doesn't let up. Yeah, you're telling me, Luke. How quaint. It seems everything in the blasted universe is intent on getting on my nerves as of late.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour!
In the first place, I shouldn't be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sake.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
I'll be honest, if only for today. With the mansion this quiet at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is how odd my own wife has been acting as of late. There's no place for fear when another set of problems already burns that fuel. So I wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself, perhaps with more force than needed. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side of the hour he dared appear on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hana will disapprove, scold me for treating the man with such disrespect if she hears me right now. She seems fond of him, after all, treats him like a friend she's known for years. But she's not here, isn't she? What she doesn't know.
You! Again! It's bloody 6 in the morning! What the hell is it now?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't!
This is still my home. My rules also apply to this place as much as Hana's do. As simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
It just so happens it's also a person I will never take a liking to. No need for remorse.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting even as I slam the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't understand most of it. However, with the doors muffling the better part of it, and with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last long. Eventually he leaves and silence once again fills the room as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call for psychiatric services. He certainly sounds mental just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds? Nothing good can come from it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worst, Shrocken will take care of it, if need be. It's what I'm paying him for. In the meantime, I need rest, even for just a few hours. My lovely wife is still fast asleep when I finally join her in our bed. She feels a tad bit warm to the touch, but nothing to worry about, I hope. As odd as she has been acting lately, her company is nice after spending long, grueling hours going through business documents. Then again, it's not like I'd be losing out on much if I take a break or two. In fact, all I have to do is say the word, and Vance General's electronics stocks are going to go down. That's the least I can do after Rochelle Vance's outburst during the party. I highly doubt she'll be Rochelle Lee for long, not if Harvey has any sense in him. So, with a sign, I drift off, setting aside my problems if only for a few hours. Not long into it though, perhaps only a few minutes in my mind, a knock interrupts my attempts at getting some rest. Checking the time on my phone, however, shows that it's just 8:30. Still too tired, but what can I do about it? Getting up is an entirely different problem on its own. Waking up after only a few hours of sleep in has my body stiff and sore with my mind feeling lethargic. A part of me wants to go back and doze off again, an alien feeling to me. But it's already far too late for my taste, and on the second round of knocks, I reluctantly peel myself off the bed and answer the door, only to be greeted by none other than Shrocken and his grumpy face. The sight of it is enough to dampen my own irritation, and I can only follow when he gestures towards the hallway. I have questions as to why he would bother me at this hour in the morning. But going by the grim, or rather grimmer than usual air about him, must be something serious. The man stands there as relaxed and cool as can be, but his eyes hold an intensity that promises nothing but trouble.
I do hope I wasn't interrupting anything.
Well, I did want to sleep, but apparently the world conspires against me.
What do you want?
If you wish to sleep so badly, feel free to tuck yourself back in bed. I thought you ought to know that we've had an intruder.
And sue me if that doesn't pique my curiosity. Intruders, thieves who would dare set foot in my house and try to rob me were rare. If I had any form of experience, they'd have an idea not to mess with the rights, no matter how tempting our riches may be. But that did not mean attempted robberies did not happen. What was strange about this? One is the fact that Strachan thought it was important to bring it to my attention. Oftentimes they deal with pests because I wouldn't really care how they take it. They take care of it. So
This needs my attention, why? Are they any danger?
Actually, I think I'll let you be the judge of that. He's down in the parlor. Come on.
I glance at the bedroom door, hoping to goodness that Hana will remain fast asleep before following him downstairs. Through the foyer and into the parlor where a familiar man sits unconscious, tied up to one of the chairs.
I thought I heard something scurrying around. As it turns out, it's a giant rat. And one that had pretended to be a harmless mouse, too.
It's the photographer from Luxury Living. What was his name? Steele? Did they not pay the man enough with his photos that he'd have to resort to stealing? Of course, what other reasons are there to explain his presence? No doubt he had seen such finery during his little photo shoot and thought he could make off with a good amount. I wouldn't blame him, really. But it is a disappointment that he would fall so low and prove stereotypes true. Trust a black man to be a thief, after all. That's racist.
And he's still alive, isn't he?
It's hard to tell with the way the body is too still, breath's too tight, too light. But it is there, the subtle rise and fall of his chest. Its presence lets me breathe a sigh of relief. A death caused by one of my men is normal, to be expected, really. A dead body I can deal with. It'll just be one of the many I've seen. But if one turns up while the missus is at home, I'm not too thrilled with the idea.
I saw no reason to do more than incapacitate him. So yes, the man is still alive. Of course, that can be remedied if you wish.
Damn.
This is fine. He wasn't trying to kill us, was he?
If he was wholly unprepared. But I do not think he had such nefarious purposes. He is a big man, but he seems too soft to be a hired killer. A common trespasser or petty thief, maybe. Certainly nothing more.
If a petty thief dares to try anything against me, people are forgetting their place. He's to be made an example of. A guy slacks off for once and everything they think they can get away with is taking advantage. His thieving ways is going to be one of his one-way ticket behind bars. It's only as my anger washes away that I realize that the sun is starting to rise off into the horizon. And I can only feel annoyance at myself for missing another night of sleep.
Call the police then. Let them round him up and bring me some bloody coffee while you're at it.
Thankfully, he leaves me to my own summering as I take one of the free seats, and while waiting for my drink, I find myself staring at this man. Steele, that's his name, isn't it? He's big, built like a bear. I thought as much when I first saw him, more of a teddy bear rather than a grizzly, if I cared to be honest. I would have laughed in his face if he told me that he was a photographer and had nothing to show to prove it. Going by his appearance alone, I'd say he'd very well be a common street thug, the sort that I hire to be a plain muscle. But the laugh lines on the softness around his cheeks, just his general air, has me wondering, how long will a man like him survive in a place like prison? Not that I care, of course. I've seen weaker, spineless, and even innocent fools before the police and the courts to be punished. And as always, it does when I'm in such a situation. The power I wield hits me like an unnatural high. It's something else I can hold a man's life in my hand without resorting to murder. A person is as good incarcerated the moment I send them Harvey's way. A person is as good as incarcerated the moment I send them Harvey's way. And this makes me wonder if I can make Luxury Living grovel, beg for my forgiveness because of the crime committed against me by one of their staff. Deep in my thoughts, stuck in my power trip, that rushes through me. I barely notice we have company until Strachan puts a cup of coffee in my hands.
Officer Carl and his colleague are here to collect. They'll want your statement.
And as he says, there are two different officers at the door. Though I can't even bother to spare them the slightest glance before looking back at the unconscious gollywog.
If they need my statement, I'll give it to their chief. I'm due a visit to a good friend anyway.
After my coffee and a bit of breakfast, of course. Once I'm done breaking my fast and after a cool shower, I call for Strachan to drive me to the police station so that I can give my statement. Through it all, Hana still slumbers. The way she remains undisturbed even with the commotion, you'll think she has somehow contracted a sickness of some sort overnight. And true enough, the moment the back of my hand touches her forehead, she's burning up. It's unfortunate there's no time to worry about this, as much as I want to care for her. There's urgent business demanding my attention elsewhere, and with the rest of the staff away, and well, our marriage may have gone through a rough patch recently, but I still do feel as if I'm neglecting her like this. It doesn't help that the only thing I can do for her now is to place both cloth dipped in warm water on her forehead and leave a little bottle of medicine on her bedside, and instruct Strachan to schedule an immediate appointment to her physician. I just hope that this trip to the city won't take too much time, or further ruin my mood. The ride to this precinct is a quiet affair. I'm in no mood for idle chatter with what little sleep I've had. Not everything is smooth sailing, however, as soon as I arrive at the precinct, either. But as they say, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. It would be suspicious if everything had gone on without a ruckus. And it would be more boring, too. Because who doesn't love a good fight and a bit of drama? There's nothing quite like beating your opponent down and making them learn who's boss. If life just slumped over, there would be no point in even trying, but I'd be much happier if nosy detectives stopped being, well, nosy. That boy, Feathers, just riles me right up. With the way he looks at me, as if he's better than me. I saw it in his eyes, the righteous fury and the belief he's some saintly good guy, and I'm the villain that needs to be taken down. I've no doubts that he would word away from I've no doubts that he was a word away from trying to assault my person. And I wish he had, if only so that I could have a proper legal grounds to get him in a whole lot of trouble. I so hate men like him. I came out looking the civil gentleman between the two of us, at the very least. But it does no wonders for my mood, and I have to retreat to Harvey's office to cool myself down. Just needing to do legwork to bring myself to the precinct always does sour the day for me. It always means I have to fix something. Always annoying. So here I am, with a bored glance at my view of the place. Johann stands outside, like a good guard dog, and makes sure no one enters unannounced.
I am so sorry about what happened out there, mate. But you know how it is with these officers. All testosterone and ranking.
Well, you need to learn how to keep your men in line better, mate. But I didn't come here to talk about these hot-headed daft villains. They could be dead from the neck up for all I care.
He has the propensity to forget one tiny detail. I own him. I want to seethe and rage, remind him of who exactly the boss here is. I very well can, thanks to the wonders of soundproofing. But the stress and nervous expression on his face stops me from giving him a tongue lashing. It would really do me no good to be at odds with me when he has yet to prove to be a useful ally from time to time. So I listen when he speaks, focus on the smell of coffee and cigarettes that fills the room in order to curb my tongue. For now. But boy, when you let a man like Harvey Lee speak, he speaks a lot.
Look, all I'm asking is that you be a bit patient with them. You do realize a good chunk of them they aren't with you, so to speak. Bunch of kids who think the police are superheroes or some cock and bull. They don't know how things work around here. Especially that Frey boy. The lot of them are just tired.
And why are you telling me this?
I was going to ask you if you knew anything about it. Perhaps one of yours know. There's been a string of unfortunate incidents as of late. Just recently some bloke named Christian Sai was acting all nuts. Off his rocker, that man. And we had to hold him, thought he was drunk. Up until he started bashing his brains in. Now he's a vegetable in a hospital bed. Another time, some Mark Julius was reported missing. Some are thinking we've got a serial killer on our hands as of late. That Cooper lady from BRC got done in, and a Father Norman, too.
What? Not Father Norman.
Bloody hell. Even that Santos girl. She was our detective's friend, you know? Though I keep telling him not to let his emotions get in the way of the job. You have to understand, mate. In a place as peaceful as Luxburn, this makes people wary. Reported crime rates go a bit higher than usual, and it makes them antsy and temperamental.
Are you implying that I have anything to do with them? Because as much as I hate to say it and admit, I am out of the loop. This is the first I've heard of these incidents.
Really? I'd say I'm insulted, but this is par for the course. Harvey knows who and what I am. We have a deal of sorts, after all. Crime is always expected in a city with laws and with humans who are allowed their free will. But why not strike a deal with the devil to make sure that said crime has some order at least?
Ah, well, that's a shame, I suppose. Figured if we could get any leads, it'd be from you.
I can't stop the scoff that leaves me. Can these police officers really be so incompetent? The chief of the damn police force seems to find it amusing, however. Because as far as I can see, whether he believes it or not, he's got it easy in for our little deal. He just has to sit back and relax, let me do my thing, and not turn against me while he gets to live a comfy life. But perhaps that's why I haven't killed him off yet. His predecessors to the position wasn't so agreeable.
You know, someday I'll stop turning in my own men when they piss me off. And what will you do then? You and your men will all be lost without me.
I'll just hope that when the time comes, I'll already be all wrinkly and retired then.
It's a play of his, it always is, to act all casual and chuckling at everything like it doesn't faze him. Pretends he's one of those kinds, wise old men types so that people can't bring themselves to be angry at him. But I've seen him drunk off his arse and bemoaning his fate, what he's become, though he tries to be as vague as he can he tries to be as vague as he can, even in his inebriated state. I've seen the malice this man is capable of. That's why it confuses me with how he reacts to what I say next.
So what is our little gollywog looking at?
Now there's never a time or place for that kind of racist talk, son.
He cuts me off in a firm tone before I can say anything further. I didn't know the term gollywog was racist. I guess he learns something new every day. There is steel in his eyes, and he near slams his fist on the table when he does. I can't help but sigh, realizing that he's going through one of his self-righteous streaks, rare as they may be.
You know our little deal ties up my hands when it comes to a lot of things with you. But I hear that Steele is a good kid, and I ask you at least show a bit of respect.
He's a felon. I think I'm entitled to call him what I please. I don't owe him any respect at all.
In my pocket he may be, but he still chose the path of a policeman himself when he was a young man. And I bet it just boils down to the deal, and I bet it just boils his blood that he has to deal with the likes of me. But I, in turn, hate the side of him that thinks that he's some do-gooder, some hero of justice. Because spineless fools are useful, self-righteous ones force me to do away with them eventually.
You put plenty of your own white men in jail. I don't see you calling them I don't know, white cracker or whatever lingo they have nowadays. And if not respect, you can at least owe the lads some basic human decency.
Whatever. But if you gotta stick up your ass about it, I'll concede. He's going behind bars either way, for however long that is.
Besides, what does it matter if he's black or white? The color of his skin doesn't change anything about current circumstances. It's a trifle matter to argue over.
It's 6 months and a fine worth 5,000 for breaking and entering. Unless you'd be willing to go easy on the guy. Let him bump it down to a misdemeanor and juvenile offense. We'll be giving him probation and charge him for the damages.
And that's it?
That's it. That's what a white man gets, and that's what he gets too. Unless you're going to stir up a fuss and make a big deal out of this.
In case you've forgotten, I do what I want, Lee. I don't even see why you protect the man. He's nothing but a petty thief.
And won't that look bad on you? The Luke Wright, getting his panties in a bunch over a petty thief. You said it yourself. He's nothing. Not worth your attention or effort. So why don't you just let me handle it like I'm supposed to?
And I do hate to say it, but he's got me there. I hate that all this power comes with a great balancing act. Be too lax and people will think that they can get away with the smallest of things. Be too harsh and people will, well, they won't want to work with me for long, and that's never a good thing in the long term. And it shows on me poorly if I were to fuss over such insignificant little maggot.
Now is that all you're here for?
Well, there is another thing I want to ask.
What? Can't I visit a friend? That detective. Feathers. Should I be concerned about him? He seemed keen.
Feathers? Oh, you mean Frey? Nah, he's not really anything to worry about. I got him assigned to your case to make the whole thing believable. The boy's a good detective, one of the best I have on the force. But he won't be able to do shit with all the red tape tying him up. In fact, the higher-ups just took him off your tail.
The case against me? I still have one? Harvey, my dear old friend, have you been slacking off? Surely I told you to take care of that sort of thing. Surely it shouldn't have taken you this long. Surely it should be quiet by now on your end. They shouldn't be assigning anything to what's supposed to be a cold case.
I doubt you've got anything to really worry about unless you go out there and announce the shit you've done. They don't want to accuse the most powerful man in Luxburn without being 100% sure about things, of course.
The way he goes about it so nonchalantly.
But it's because of that company problem Suarez has been talking about. Can't believe that's still a thing. You think the geek would have figured it out by now? He's supposed to be a computer genius. Don't go blaming me for it. He's the one slacking off, if you ask me. Don't you be pointing fingers my way.
And has Suarez mentioned anything new about that?
You'd have to ask him about it. You know I don't understand half the technical computer mumbo-jumbo the guy goes on about. It's like the guy speaks a whole other language. Which, technically he does, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I suppose you have a point. Very well, if you haven't got anything else useful for me, I might as well head home. Get some...
Oops. I could have some tea. Maybe with some whiskey and a nap, I'll be right as rain. At least one of us should get some R&R because it's not like Harvey isn't going to get any. Especially now that his darling wife has left him. I'll be making him busy as punishment for slacking off and for her disrespect too. Really, I pity the poor old man. Maybe I should send him a gift basket, perhaps more caffeine and smokes to help him get along with his bad habits. Before I can leave the precinct, however, a shoulder bumps into mine. I wait for an apology. And I wait.
Excuse me.
There's a twitch in my eye that I can't hide as I look back at the rude old bastard. Especially not when all he has to look back at me as if this is the first time. Especially not when all he does is look back at me as if this is the first time he's seen me. As if he hadn't just nearly shoved me over with his big lump of a body.
You're excused.
The way he says it, the way he looks at me, it leaves me feeling so cold, and I have this gut feeling telling me that I should know him. But he doesn't even let me get a word in when he just disappears through the door.
A bloody wanker.
Alright, we are going to end this episode off here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Or don't. I don't give a shit. And I'll see you all in the next one. And, goodbye everyone.